Welcome back, everybody, to the Pat Flynn Show. I am your host, Pat Flynn, and we are going to talk about full body workouts versus split body routines. Why choose one over the other? This will be our topic of conversation today with the legendary strength coach, according to Men's Health Magazine, Dan John. He will be here in just a couple minutes. I wanted to start early because there's actually so many things I want to share with you. There's so many different announcements. I don't even know where to begin. And I do want to share one workout with you actually pretty quickly. I sent it out to my email subscribers, and I often share a lot of just new and experimental workout routines with my email subscribers. So if you want to be one of them, head over to 101kettlebellworkouts.com. You'll get a free collection of 101 kettlebell workouts, and then that'll put you on my email list where I share really my best and most frequent content. So anyway, I shared real quick, I'll start with this workout because I don't know if I explained it as well as I could have in the email, but it is a full body circuit routine I've been experimenting with, and I call it the foulness because it's a very foul, intense routine. So let me share this with you quickly. Then I have a couple of announcements, and then Dan John will be with us, and we're going to dive a little bit deeper into full body routines. How's that sound? Does that sound good to you guys? We're live streaming, so if you're joining us live, please comment. Let me know what you're drinking, where you're tuning in from, and what questions you have, because as always, we'll do Q&A at the end. Okay, so I've been playing around with the circuit that's really cool, and it's a full body routine. It hits a bunch of different muscle groups, and there's a couple of ways you can play around with it, and it uses a fun combination of a sort of drop set in conjunction with the circuit. So let me just give you the routine, and then I'll explain it. So I start off with a set of presses, and I've been varying what I'm doing for the press, whether it's strict press or push press or incline press or whatever, that varies. And I think you should vary it. I think you should press from many different angles. And in fact, I've been so reminded of the importance of pressing from different angles since I've really started to get back into jiu-jitsu, and I find myself in all these really awkward, awkward angles. But fortunately, I'm pretty strong in these angles. So the presses, the get-ups, the push-ups, the dips, all of that has, I think, given me a great advantage as a jiu-jitsu player, because I can be strong from many different angles and positions. So yeah, I mix up the pressing angles is what I'm trying to say. So anyways, you do around 10 presses, then you take about 5 deep breaths or rest for about 5 to 10 seconds, then try to hit anywhere between 5 to 10 presses again. So you kind of have that something of a drop set. We're not dropping weight. We're just putting in about a 5 to second mini rest or micro rest, and then we're doing presses again. So 10 presses, about 5 breaths, deep breaths, and then try to hit between 5 to 10 more presses. You'll be very fatigued. So I give you a range there. Then hit 10 front squats, then hit 10 start-stop swings. Now, the key with this routine is that you switch the first exercise every time through. So you switch the drop set exercise every time through. So the second time through, you'll start with front squats, do 10 reps there, then do the 5 to 10 second rest, and then try to hit another 5 to 10 front squats, then do your start-stop swings for 10 reps, then do presses for 10 reps. Third time through, same idea, but now it's start-stop swings first. 10 reps, 5 to 10 second rest, another 5 to 10 reps, then 10 presses, had to think about it, 10 front squats. And then you just repeat that entire sequence for 20 to 30 minutes. Rest as little as you need between rounds. Generally between 2 to 3 minutes is going to be sufficient. And get as many rounds as you can in as possible. Try this out. Again, I call it the foulness. You'll see why. It's a tremendous metabolic hit. Great for strength, muscle, a really powerful full body routine, which we're going to be talking about more with Dan John here in a minute. So let me make a couple quick announcements. First, we got a fun stream tonight. I have a former professional wrestler coming on, Glacier. If any of you guys grew up in the 90s with professional wrestling, I'm sure you'll remember Glacier. He's coming on to talk about how he has, essentially maintained his physical health and continues to actually even wrestle even today. So we're going to talk to a professional wrestler of how he trains and some of his. It'll be fun. It'll be a lot of fun. It'll be a kind of off the wall conversation. So tune in for that. Secondly, if you enjoy the philosophical content on this podcast, check out the new website that we have made over at, very pleased to announce this, philosophyforthepeople.com. Check it out. There's a free ebook there. that gives you a nice introduction to logic and a philosophical reading list. So if you want to train the mind alongside the body, check out our new website, philosophyforthepeople.com. And this finally brings me to the new sponsor that we have that I have to mention, who built this website for me. Her name's Sarah Busey, new sponsor. So if you need a website built, either for yourself, your business, your dog, or if your gym, your dead iguana, check out MagdaleneDesignCo.com. That's MagdaleneDesignCo.com. Let me just speak frankly for a minute. I've had a lot of websites built over the years, especially in the fitness industry, and they've always been a headache. They've always been crazy expensive. They've always taken forever, and they've never been completely what I've been looking for. Sarah is the most wonderful exception. She understands not just aesthetics. Her company understands not just how to make a good first impression, but they get marketing, and that's the key thing. They get how to integrate, ebooks and opt-ins and all this cool stuff. So what I'm saying is, if you're a fitness professional and you need a slick, appealing, and marketing forward website, check out MagdaleneDesignCo.com. Contact Sarah. Tell her you know me. Say, hey, Pat told me that you're the website person. She'll say, oh, did he? And you'll say, yes. And then you guys can talk and do business. Please support these small companies and support the sponsors if it makes sense for you to do so, because they're small businesses which have been getting killed for the past 2 years now, and they do tremendous work, and it supports the podcast. So it's a win-win all around. So MagdaleneDesignCo.com. Sarah built the new Philosophy for the People website. So if you're impressed with that website, which I'm sure you will be, and you need a website built for any reason, check that out. You will not be disappointed. Okay, so our conversation today, of course, is going to be on full body workout routines. And let me alert you quickly to an article that Dan John shared on his newsletter that is going to be the launch pad for our conversation. I'm going to throw it in the comments right now. It's over at T Nation. And the article, which I will actually pull up here in just a second, give you a little peek at, is a good article. And I think it's worth reading. We're not going to go through the whole article, but we're going to use it again as a sort of launch point for our conversation. Here, I'm going to bring it up right now. And the link is in the show notes. There it is. Okay, so it's just called Full Body Workouts of the Legends. And Dan shared this through his email list. And here are some of the points, right? Is the article's making the claim, and I don't think it's implausible, that people have essentially forgotten about full body workout routines. Now, I think they're largely talking about the bodybuilding community, but I think this extends beyond that as well. I think a lot of people are still largely focused on kind of like training different body parts at different times, rather than engaging, complete full body workouts, meaning we're doing the pushing, the pulling, the hinging, squatting, all in a single routine. Dan John, we were just talking about you.
Hey, hi.
Good morning to you.
I'm not late. It's 8 o'clock. You guys are already.
Yeah, I start a little early because we have some announcements I wanted to make, and we don't want to bore Dan with those announcements, do we?
Oh, sure. Okay. Yeah, no problem. Hey, let me go grab my coffee.
Yeah, please do.
How are you?
I'm doing great. Before you grab your coffee, I wanted to talk about some of the stuff you talked about in your newsletter about full body workout routines, at least a little bit today, if that's cool with you. All right, so enjoy your coffee.
Hi, gentle listeners. I forgot my coffee. Forgive me.
Necessary. In the meantime, the gentle listeners can let us know what they're drinking in the comments. Nothing fancy for me today. I've got a little coffee with just a little dab of coconut oil in there. It's a regular fixture of Pat Flynn's morning routine. I've actually got my my caffeine intake down to a science. I figured out like just how much caffeine I need to be productive, but not overstimulated. If I have too much caffeine, I get jittery, and then I crash. And obviously, I don't have enough caffeine. Then I just don't wake up. I just don't even get started. So for me, it's a cup of coffee and then usually a green tea on top of it. There we go. And what are you drinking, Dan? Is it the mountain grown stuff this morning?
Are you kidding me?
Only the finest.
I look a little rough this morning. Jeez.
No, you look good. You're good. I told you my wife's obsessed with Folgers, right? Like this is a big source of contention in our house. I need my like snotty, local.
Have I met your wife?
You met Christine years and years ago when you held our fresh baby child.
At the Dragon.
That's right, but this was a long time ago.
Yeah, was it Rowan?
It was Rowan. Yeah. You met that was.
Yeah, okay. Actually, the second I said it and you said that, it was like, oh, okay. Yes. Very nice woman. Terrible taste in men, but
the worst, as we would say. couldn't be worse. But hey, how was your training this week, Dan? Give us the updates on the lifting front before we dive in here.
So yesterday was a really good day. I did that. I ended up just doing 90 squat snatches with that little bar. So I'm trying this tiny little experiment, gentle listener and Pat, where I'm using Rusty Moore's idea of lightning rounds, but with Olympic lifts. So the bar, my friend Jim Hooper sent it up to me, and it's very light. But I don't know. It sounds like a ton, but it takes me about 15 minutes to do that. But I got to tell you, talk about grease in the grooves. I feel real good. And then I did a real hard press push-up combo, 5 reps with the double 20s, and then 3 push-ups. And I did so a total of 15 rounds of that back to back to back. So that ended up being just 75 presses. And I know the 20s are light, but man, the accumulation was brutal. Friday, Saturday, and even into a little bit of Sunday, I did that self-care thing where I did 2 saunas a day, two meditation periods a day. I lived on
2 saunas a day. This is new. I didn't know you were doing this.
Oh, I just decided to do a little self-care thing this weekend. So, you start the day off, you scrape your tongue, you put that coconut oil in your mouth.
I read about that in your email. Yeah.
And you floss, you take your time flossing, you take
and smart to not want to put the coconut oil down the drain. We've learned that lesson. It will harden and clog. So into the trash if you're going to do, because my wife, she does like 20 minutes of oil pulling a morning with the coconut oil. This is a thing that people do. I don't do it. I just get cavities instead. It's the easier way. But there's this thing that people do, Dan.
Yeah.
It's this thing where they put the coconut oil in and they just swish it for 20 minutes, and apparently it does wonders for the oral health. But then don't spit it into the drain. That's the point.
Yeah, spit it into a lined garbage can. Yeah, and then just things like so I lived on hummus and tabbouleh salad. Tabbouleh salad and hummus are very calmative for me. Now that's what I lived on in the Middle East with my liver parasites. So it might just be emotional connection for me, but I find them both to be very.
The hummus, not the liver parasite. That's gone.
The liver parasite's a sucker.
He didn't keep that around.
And then try to walk. If you're gonna do any exercise, I just picked 2 yoga exercises. The one's called the butterfly stretch, where you lay on your back, your feet are together, and you just let your knees go wide.
Yeah, it's a good one.
And then the other one's called the rag doll. You grab your elbows like this, sit back in the hinge, and you just lay forward. It's funny because that's also a poor man chiropractor for me. That one seems to make my neck go and kind of open up. Yeah. So what I try to do on a self-care weekend is like, so for beverages, I did drink coffee. Oh, that was okay. Okay. I did make a huge mistake. I did coffee with ghee, a big mug of coffee with ghee, GHEE, that butter.
Yeah. The clarified butter. Yep.
Clarified butter and coconut. And frankly, gentle listeners, it just became hot diarrhea.
Oh no!
And I was struggling with it. Yeah, probably. Well, see, today's as we're doing this, it's Tuesday.
Not to get into the details, was that because of what you were eating, or is it just because that particular combination something you hadn't had before? Just
no. Every single time I've talked with Dave Asprey a number of times, and actually, and Dave actually basically previewed his book for me years ago in a conversation. And so that's the Bulletproof Coffee. I have the fancy creamers that you can buy in the store with the extra caffeine and the extra this and that. Whenever I do this, my body does not like that. Whatever is, I think it's the MCT oil. Now, listen, what's going to happen is
people put that in everything these days. Yeah.
300 people are going to tell me, they're going to give me all these little recipes, okay, down here in the thing. Shut up. this is an experience. This is an N equals 1. Dan, John don't like, body don't like MCT. Don't give me more recipes, please. Once something happens a couple dozen times, I start to think that this is starting to trend in a direction.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Toilet violence multiple times.
Yes. Every time, it's like what I say about, every time after my 10th martini, I seem to get drunk.
Yes. How about that? Yes. Anyways, the self-care, that was the mistake, but
no, that was the only mistake on it. But what was nice is that even late into yesterday, I still felt that little kind of that, even after a real hard Olympic lifting workout, I still felt that calm of a self-care. And the thing is about the way I do self-care, it's not a 24/7 thing. It is maybe a half an hour twice a day. Could maybe stretch it into 45 minutes.
Yeah.
But it could be done every single day. I would have to think about that only because I feel a little bit, this is going to sound a very Irish Catholic, but I feel a little bit guilty when I spend that much time on myself. With the saunas. And I did an interesting thing to start off on Thursday. I went and got manicures and pedicures because one of the things I discovered years ago, it would have just been before I met you the first time. I got a cardboard cut inside one of my nail beds, and I ended up in emergency care with red lines run up my arm.
Yikes!
I was in Golden, Colorado, and had to go to emergency room. So one of the things I realized years ago that your nail beds, it's not a bad idea every so often to have literally a professional, a manicurist,
trim it up a bit, sure,
and just have and while that nice young lady was doing it, I was watching her and I realized that my techniques aren't as good as her. I mean, seriously, when I go to the dental hygienist, I mean, I'm watching the techniques and trying to figure out how to get better at it. Yeah. Workouts are good. I've been reading a lot. I got a new book. It's an Irish author from Trinity College on walking. I got Dr. Mosley's book from 2 years ago on the 800 calorie diet.
Any new insights from the walking book out of curiosity, or are you just
well, one thing, I mean, and this is something I knew from being a teacher is, I mean, really encourage your kid to crawl. Encourage babies to crawl. The more time babies crawl, the more they learn the whole system. Walking is a very much more difficult thing than because we do it. And it's like I sometimes think about indoor toilets. They are a very, very elegant solution to a problem that's vexed humanity for a long time, especially in large populations. And I say that, and people are like, well, okay, that seems weird.
Right. Because it's common, they think that it's like insignificant, right? Yeah. They don't appreciate how significant that is.
Sometimes it's
so common, right?
Honestly, if you're going to live in civilization, which literally just simply means city, the toilet is indoor plumbing, sewage systems, modern sanitation at the other end of that is oh my God, it's genius. But you miss it because it's so obvious.
Because we're just there all the time, right? So same thing with walking, right? It's like this is a really significant achievement for any individual, let alone the human race, but we take it for granted because it's so common. I'm guessing the book talks about the importance of these sort of neurodevelopmental patterns for brain formation as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and that's something that seems to be increasingly appreciated, if you will, right? How the role these patterns play in proper cognitive development, right?
Every day I start I start every day with a place called the best free cultural online place. It's I don't want to pop that right now because I'll lose you. There's another place called Literary Hub that I go to every day. And Lit Hub will also often have articles about great writers and walking. And this book, actually, it almost seems like this book, I don't know. I mean, they're very common, I'm sure. But this book talks a lot about many great authors. Writing was their toolkit.
What's the title of the book, Dan? We're about to find out. Always love the reading recommendations. By the way, gentle listeners, we will be doing Q&A here shortly. So if you have any questions, please drop them in the chat box. I already see some have been submitted, and we'll be happy to answer as many as we can in the second half of the episode.
In Praise of Walking by Shane O'Mara.
Okay, I'll be sure to link that in the show notes for people who want to snag a copy.
But I'm not finished with it. And then the other book is this Cat Mosley. He writes a lot of books in England.
The Fast 800 Diet.
Yeah, and he's a compiler. His gut biome book is the only one I can actually recommend. The other books are just his book on high intensity training. You can read much clearer stuff over at Rusty Moore's place. What's Rusty? Right. Mm-hmm. You can see much clearer. His stuff on intermittent fasting. You buy a book and he's going to tell you to, fast 2 days a week. He's a 5-2 method guy. Mm-hmm. And but his best book is The Gut Biome. But the reason I bought that book is I was wrapping Christmas presents, and I wrap presents by going to the dollar store, mm-hmm. buying those big bags. Mm-hmm. For $1 each. That's how I wrap presents.
It's efficient. I like it.
And then I walked, and there's this little book area, and I saw his book for $1, and I'm like,
all right,
yeah, there you go.
Not too bad. Well, speaking of stuff that came out of your, by the way, let me recommend, if you're not on Dan John's newsletter, Wandering Weights, it's the place to be. So get on there. And of course, I always enjoy reading it, and you always share a lot of resources, and you shared and commented on this resource of full body workout routines. That was a nice little article, Dan, over at T Nation.
Ed, before we jump in.
Yeah, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Rest in peace, Dave Draper.
You know what? Yes. Can we spend a few minutes, because I never knew Dave. I never associated with him. I have to admit, sadly, I've never even read much of his stuff, but I know that he was a man that was greatly admired by many people in the industry and was greatly influential. And everything I've heard about him has just been praise all around. So maybe, Dan, maybe you could say, just do a little, like, who was Dave? What sort of influence did he have on you? And maybe we could just celebrate his career a little bit. I think that would be appropriate. Mm-hmm.
So Dave, a young man, just like the rest of us, wanted to look better. So got himself a barbell set, kept it under his bed. And when you read his book, Rearview Mirror, which I wrote the foreword on, and if you go to Coach Dan John, I read the foreword, and I didn't realize how emotional I was going to be.
I saw that. That was really a nice tribute.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. So, yeah. And he was a really good and decent man to me. But he did dips between, he talks about doing dips between the kitchen chairs, and you pull the weight set out and you bomb, and he became known as the Blonde Bomber. And
now he was prior to Arnold in the bodybuilder scene. That's correct?
Yes. He's 79, and Arnold would be just a little bit younger than that, but not much. And Arnold's hero was Reg Park, but when he came to America, Dave took him on his arm, and actually Weider really screwed Dave over in favor of Arnold, which led to Dave's some issues he had. He had a dark night of the soul, like many of us, and he does a really nice job in his last book, Rearview Mirror, which I would actually tell people to start there, because it's a reminiscence. He was a real poet, philosopher, and just a kind guy. He was a bodybuilder. So he was fascinated by things like the kettlebell and Olympic lifts. But and he asked me some things, and I told him, it was like, good, thank you. But his mindset was, bodybuilding.
That was it. That was his thing, right? Mm-hmm.
And as you know, he has issues, and then of course he met Larry, and he and Larry put together On Target Publishing,
which is your primary publisher, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then originally they just would have these, and I have a whole collection in there. originally it was just little things like workout journals and a few here's and there's. And then pretty soon, pre-COVID, and COVID really did hurt the publishing industry. If you go to On Target Publishing and you just scroll through the books that Lurie offers, no matter what topic you're interested in, and the two of them did a great job.
Tons of great stuff. If people haven't checked out On Target, please do. I mean, first off, you got all Dan John, Intervention, Can You Go, all those classics, right? But yeah, just a wealth of resources. Mm-hmm.
And it was just so nice to see, as I was kind of thumbing through, as you know, I've had a few body blows in the last couple of years, and to read Dave talking about me visiting him in one of his blogs, it just kind of just made my whole month. And Lurie warned me, really, when I was writing the forward to in the rear view, I'm sorry, that this was probably Dave's last. And so I tried to write it as well. I just wrote it from the heart, and I think it went well. But yeah, I kind of warned my daughter Kelly not long ago, that I'm going to be in for a rough couple of years. I have several very good friends in their 90s. Dick Notmeyer, of course, is 90. I had a sense from what Lurie told me Dave was going to pass. And it's just, it's just another one of those difficult, and you too, Patrick, will be going through that not long. I mean, you'll be sitting around going, and then you're going to come on this show someday in the not too far future and say, I got some bad news. My good friend Dan John is gone. And
one of the saddest things I remember about my grandparents before they passed is how almost every day they would wake up and see which of their friends was gone in the obituary. That scene to me was just one that's always stuck with me. Of that is coming. That will be the thing. That's down the road for all of us. So a poignant reminder, memento mori, as they say, right? Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah. And then, CJ Hunter, a friend of mine, a shot putter, died either the day before or that day too. And CJ, held Kelly as a baby and spent some nights with us before he became famous. Mm-hmm. Good man. So, so thank you.
Rest in peace, Dave. Mm-hmm. Rest in peace. And for people who haven't yet seen or checked out On Target Publications, please do so. Mm-hmm. Great company, published Dan stuff, many resources over there. So
many. I mean, uncountable cows, as we used to say.
Yeah. So not to take too hard of a turn too quickly, but full body workout routines. We don't have to go through the article from T Nation, but I wanted to get your thoughts on this because the article claims, I think, not totally incorrectly, that people kind of forgot about full body routines. And I think that's probably more true in the bodybuilding world than outside of it. But even, when I go into I kind of Lifetime Fitness is sort of the weather vane for me of the fitness industry right now. It's a big Globo gym. Yeah, when I go in there, it still seems like most people are doing the split body stuff.
Yeah.
And certainly it's effective. There's a place for that. But I just wanted to get Dan John's thoughts on full body versus split body routines. I guess maybe weigh the pros and cons of each, what you think is most appropriate for our gentle generalist listeners, and see what sort of insights we can pull out from there, if you're willing, Dan. Mm-hmm.
In my perfect world, everyone would lift weights 3 days a week, whole body.
Mm-hmm. I think and that's sort of the basic idea, right? If you're doing the whole body routine, you're probably going to have less frequency than if you're doing the split body routine, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I've gone down to as few as 2 days a week, whole body. And the interesting thing is, and I have it in my journals, it says it at the beginning of one of my journals. Maybe it's the 91, 92 journal, something like that. But I can just see it mentally. 3 days a week is all you need in the weight room, Danny. That's all you need. And nothing new about this. This is what Coach Mon told me the first day I met him, that the lift weights 3 days a week, throw the discus 4 days a week for the next 8 years. And every time I've tried to rush it, it doesn't seem to work as well. And what we're going to get 1,000 comments about, doing, well, that's not true, Dan. I'm doing kettlebell, throwing a word that people, convict kettlebell, that I wrote that article for Teenage I Still Love, where I just put all these bogus words in how to write a book. 6 weeks to a savage
convict physique. Why the convict one is always makes me laugh.
And the truth is, I mean, I see a lot, and I love my kettlebell brothers and sisters, but sometimes I'll see what they're doing for a workout, and it's what I would consider a mobility day. It's not a workout, it's a tonic day.
Sure.
But if you have the courage to do 3 whole body workouts a week, I mean, if you're clean, I mean, now if you're a drugger, and I'm sure, I mean, I'm not an idiot. I mean, it's pretty obvious to me when I see people in my field, guy, 63-year-old guy, popping veins out with his 22-year-old girlfriend. It's like, well, okay. But if you're clean, if you want to live a long, happy life, 3 days a week is about all you need. Now, let me give you a couple variations that might help the gentle listener. My favorite, and we're going to just go 3, but this can be stretched and contracted as appropriate. One thing I like a lot is that you work the whole body every day, but you focus on one part every workout.
So it is sort of an emphasis, full body routine, but with an emphasis, right?
So maybe Monday, you want to, we'll call it upper body push day, but Monday you come in and you're going to do 2 sets of 5 in the front squat, 2 sets of 5 in the thick bar deadlift. You are going to do, you're going to have a serious suitcase carry. You're going to do some ab wheel. But then the focus of that day is the military press. You're going to do a really serious. My favorite way for hypertrophy is the double kettlebell press, and the rep scheme is 2, 3, 5, 10, 2, 3, 5, 10, 2, 3, 5, 10. And what you do, so every time you do 2, 3, 5, 10 is 20 reps. And I like 5 rounds of that, which is 100 reps. Now, these are way off the charts, but it's sustainable 1 day a week. So, and if you mix the 2, 3, 5, 10 overhead press with an appropriate pull, I mean, you have a nice workout. Come back Wednesday, let's say Wednesday's leg day, you've shot your, whatever you want to call legs, whatever legs are called nowadays. So you would still do an upper body push, an upper body pull. You'd still do the ab wheel. You'd still do the farmer walk. But today's the day you do, what's a hard leg workout?
Some Fibonacci sequence.
Maybe, 8 sets of 8 in the overhead squat.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You have there's the 8x8 in that article that you linked.
Yeah. Vince Caranda. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So 8 sets of 8 in the overhead squat. And I don't know why I picked the overhead squat, and don't write this down as gospel because I'm just spitballing. But the third day is an 80% whole body day. So the third day, and this is what I used to do back in the 90s. And I actually, could either be the day before a track meet, or when I got back from the track meet. You do all the exercises you did on day 1 and day 2, but with 80% of the load and 80% of the volume. And so you're training everything 3 days a week,
right?
With everything in the body has a hard day, a built-in light day, and a built-in medium.
That's cool. That's a very cool scheme.
Yeah, and that Wednesday.
That's kind of like the best of all worlds way to kind of think about it in a sense, right? Yeah.
So on that Friday, oh gosh, and I actually think I'm going to tell you, I can remember doing overhead squats, a straight leg deadlift, dips, chins, ab wheel workout as my whole body workout, and the reps were nothing big. I mean, but so if you think about that, if you do overhead squat, straight bar, straight leg deadlift, whatever you want to call that remaining deadlift, chin, dip, and an ab wheel, it's only 5 exercises, but you're hitting all the body parts. And the idea on that day 3 is that you okay, I know that Monday is going to be the hard leg day or upper body day. And so I'm not worried. I know that in just a few days, I will be really going after that front squat again. So
Right.
don't worry about it, or whatever, movement it is. That's actually, so it's 3 days a week. It's whole body. And no matter what, you always do those opposite exercises for 1 or 2 sets. And then you really focus on those other movements as the heat of the workout. An upper body day, a lower body focus day, and then a whole body, 80, 80, 80. Yeah.
Right. So then would you recommend training on non-consecutive days with this routine? Ideally.
You kind of have to.
Ideally. Right.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Monday, Wednesday, Saturday.
Something like that, right?
If you're competing, you want your leg day on Mondays, your upper body day on Wednesdays, and depending on how you respond. For me, I find an 80-80 day, the day before a competition, actually very tonic.
That's smart. I think we should talk about that maybe a little bit, because assuming people are engaging some type of other activity, sport, whether recreationally or quite competitively, how would you recommend arranging this, not just around competition, but just a general training schedule? Any particular way you would recommend structuring it, or just make sure it doesn't get in the way of your actual?
There's a real obvious and easy way to do it. Okay, so 3 days a week you're in the weight room, and the other 4 you do your sport.
Yeah.
I'm not always sure that works. So that I just gave you the week. Okay. So if you can't
3 and 4,
you can't see me. It's so Monday lift, Tuesday sport, Wednesday lift, Thursday sport, Friday lift, Saturday and Sunday sport.
I like the finger demonstration.
Yeah, it works out quite nicely. You can't see it. Yeah. But having said that, I don't like what I just said, because I think there's also a need for a full day off.
Just a full off day.
And I also think that there is value in your sport after you lift or your sport before you lift. I think and it depends on what you're doing. So I do like maybe 3 days a week lifting, and 1 or 2 days a week you would double up your sport with it. My sport right now is living long enough to see, Josephine's wedding, Leo play high school sports, maybe Division I sports, maybe no pressure on the poor kid, a couple Olympic gold medals and an NFL contract. No pressure. But so with my number one sport being longevity, my sport is the self-care, the mobility days, the walking. So 3 days a week, I double up lifting and walking. You're following me, right?
Yeah, I do.
And then I do take an off day. I've noticed that naturally this year, I'm missing a day a week of my walking. And I was going to, the other day, I was about to judge myself and say, and then I said, dude, it's called a rest day. It's okay. Rest. So what I do on my rest days now, I declutter. I mean, my hall closets over here are immaculate. How the one closet is the holiday closet, the Christmas stuff, and all you just shove it in there.
Sure.
And I went in and consciously cleaned and swept them out and got rid of a bunch of junk. And what I've noticed is with decluttering, on that day off where I'm not training, I find myself cleaning up areas of my life, which actually give me more energy to train.
Yeah. How about that? Yeah. That's definitely something my wife would appreciate. She's a big declutter person. See, I'm the pack rat, so she's constantly working against my existence. Like I said, very poor taste in men.
Yeah, we have all known that. Yeah. But and for the listener, there's a bit of wisdom there. I have noticed that messy people, and if you're a personal trainer, this is one of the things I teach when I teach the personal training classes. Day one, you walk your client out to their car. You walk all the way to their car and you look in their back seat. And I would walk out to their car with them with a trash bag and have them just get rid of the litter out of their car. Empty and the next time it might be really worth coming in and cleaning up even more. And coming out with a few files, and some kind of car file where they can file up all that paperwork that's in the glove compartment, and that receipt from 1923 for that,
for the Arby's,
for the big for the Bing Crosby show that
was Arby's around in 23 probably.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
And and so if you have a cluttered, if your back seat is filled with fast food bags that you threw over your shoulder, how the hell are you really going to take care of the rest of your life? And what I'm not the first person to say this, but a cluttered car is a cluttered place, is a cluttered closet, which is a cluttered drawer, and then which is cluttered eating and cluttered approach to life. If you really want to improve your body composition, I think it actually helps to clean closets.
Yeah, how about that? Well, as we said before, everything's connected. Everything's connected. Everything matters, right? It's just a matter of discovering those. Yeah. Dan, we have a lot of questions and comments. Should we take some of these from the gentle?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, here we go. Here's we'll get through as many as we can. Gentle listeners, send us whatever you want. I see lots of good engagement today. That's awesome. We'll try to be of service. Francisco says, cheers from Portugal. And keep going with the great work. I have learned a lot from both of you in this podcast. Well, thank you very much. He says, I've done easy strength for fat loss, and guess what? It worked. By the way, I like and prefer full body workouts. So not really a question there, but a nice testimony.
It's nice to hear that. And Francisco, easy strength is a full workout. And if you're doing the walk, I hope you're starting to get a sense of, even though easy strength for fat loss might be 5 days a week, 2 of the days are really, truly tonic days. They're really, that one set of 10 is just and of course, and as you get stronger and stronger, and you walk, that just gives you a nice rhythm. At that book I showed you, he wants people to eat 800 calories a day for a month. How much easier, Francisco, is it to do easy strength 5 days a week and go for a walk versus eating 800 calories?
Yeah. To ask the
your
question
mileage may vary.
It is to answer it. Let's just give a couple shout outs. Hello to Phoenix Coaching and Performance in New Jersey. Cheers to you. Greetings from Greece.
From Achilles.
As we say, the podcast is internationally known. Philip's drinking water. Anthony, hello to you. Good to see you. Mike from south side of Milwaukee. Well, you're not too far from me, Mike.
From the south side of Milwaukee.
Good to see
you. That is part of town.
Cheers from Minnesota, from Saul. Okay, here's a question. Hey, hello to Noah. We see you. Lots of just great to see everybody today. Now we'll head to some questions. Kirill says, hi, gentlemen. I'm pressing my 32 kilogram for 3x3 now, and it started to feel easy. Should I start to press 3x5 or 5x3 or some different scheme? I want to get to 8x3 so I can do Dan John's half kneeling 8x3. Yeah. Hey, good question, Dan. So where do we progress, or how do you like to progress people on the military press from, say, this position?
If this is seriously your goal, let's go 3 days a week. And 1 day a week, do the 3x3 that you're at right now. Okay. Because I like the idea of just having a workout. I wouldn't say it's going to be moderate. It's going to be a hard workout. And then add that higher volume day. At first, I would say go 5x2.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 5x2, then go to maybe 6x2. No, 5x2, then go to 8x2. That was it's workout number 2. In fact, if you want, go lighter. You can go lighter on that. And then on the third workout, I would play around with more singles. Clean and press, clean and press, clean and press, that kind of thing. Get your single, get practice doing your singles. And when you're doing those, hold that weight or walk position and maybe even go for a walk. But so 3x3, keep the base that you're at. Get that higher volume 8x2 day in, and then do a singles day. In fact, do a lot of singles. So you could even do 20 per hand or something like that, and maybe even try to slide up to more than that. Up to once you get past maybe 25, I don't know, you might be chasing air after that. But give that a week or two, maybe 3, and then then add the half kneeling on the lighter day. Okay.
Very cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
Practical advice, Dan. All right. Carson says hello from Denmark. We have every country.
Hello,
We have
Denmark.
every country tuning in. And look at this. Samuel says good afternoon from an Italian in England. Good afternoon to you, Black Espresso. All right, here's a question. I have a pretty amateur HS full body. I have a pretty amateur full body workout of just squats, push-ups, and planks. Do I really need anything else starting out? What do we think about that, Dan? I think it probably would depend on the goal, wouldn't it? Right?
Well, if you're just starting out, I mean, I don't know of anything that would be. I mean, go for a walk and maybe I don't know, learn how. I would learn how to do some of the other things, but no, that's fine.
Yeah,
That's
like the swing. Maybe get a swing in there. The
swing,
goblet squat.
deadlift.
We know Dan John lives his swings, goblet squats, and push-ups. As
Yeah,
do I. As do
yeah.
I.
I mean, in fact, that little bit of humility about keeping things simple was kind of nice to see, frankly.
Mm-hmm. Sebastian says, greetings from Germany. Just about to finish my work day, and I'm looking forward to my kettlebell session tonight. Keep up the amazing work. Thank you for all the compliments today, listeners. Really, really great to hear that so many people get value from this podcast. We really do appreciate it. Here's a question from Big Dog. Would it be a good idea to do one day all kettlebell work, say Monday, then the next work all body weight, mobility, and cardio, call that Wednesday, and then maybe a kettlebell
I'm following. Yeah.
on
Big
Friday, and then a body weight. Sorry, the comment's a little messy, but maybe Dan, you can just
No. What Big Dog's idea is that, why don't you come in one day, one day a week is a kettlebell strength day. Next day is a body weight and cardio day. Third day is, how's he saying this? Another cardio kettlebell day. Yeah. I think anytime that you play around with different qualities is a good idea. And the other thing you're gonna figure out, Mr. Dog, is that you're gonna have a kind of when you look forward to the next workout, you'll be like, oh, there will be a hint of, oh, this will be exciting and fun. Mm-hmm. And that's why guys like Dick Nottmeyer, my great coach, we had challenges a lot because Olympic lifting 5 days a week, you roll out of bed and it's like, what are you gonna do today? Well, I don't know. 2:30 I'm Olympic lift. What are you gonna do today? I don't know. 2:30 I'm Olympic lift. Whereas when you throw a challenge in there, and a challenge could be high, how many back squats can you do with 225, which was an interesting one. And, or jumping out of a window. We had that was one of our challenges. You had to jump out of a window.
That is an interesting challenge. I like that.
Oh, if you didn't do it right, you caught your forehead going on. Yeah,
I bet you did.
Jumping up, grabbing the rafter, holding a 45-pound plate.
Yeah, how about that? So cheers to Big Dog then. Go for it.
I think it's
right?
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
Phoenix Coaching and Performance has a question saying, would it be fair to say that whole body training would be a great way to get increased metabolic demand without going metabolic per se?
Well, I mean, if you look at the guys who did the classic 3 days a week, you'll notice that they tend to have cannonball shoulders and barnyard wide delts and what happens is that you ask a lot of the human body 3 days a week, and but it's a different kind of train. It's not this. I mean, my knock on modern people training is that they sweat. They just want to get sweaty, and I got a sauna right over there.
Yeah. Or get, and we've talked about this before. Get, especially if you are, and I think we both say you should be probably doing something outside of the weight room, some type of sport, even just recreationally. Yeah. You'll get sweaty doing that, right? Get your conditioning and your kind of, I mean, like certainly the full body routines are going to impose significant metabolic demands. There's no denying that. But I guess the question is it going to be enough where maybe you don't have to do like extra specific metabolic conditioning? It's the way I'm reading this question, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
For those of you who think this stuff is easy, do a Reg
go try that 8x8 routine.
Reg Park had that 9 exercise, 5 sets of 5 workout. And I'm reading in an article that he did it sometimes between 45 and 60 minutes. 9 exercises, including deadlift, back squat, military press, bench press, row, chin up, curl, triceps. There was 9 total exercises.
With or without smelling salts?
20. I mean, the math would be easier for me if I did 10 exercises. So it's 25. That's 250 reps in a workout, but by 5 sets of 5.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he was jamming through that in 45 minutes to an hour. I mean,
that is cooking with gas.
I mean, I don't want to hear, and if you're benching 5 sets of 5, something light like 315, 335, you're back squatting like I don't know, some crap weight like 405, 495 for 5 sets of 5. You're gonna have your deadlifting, 585, 5 sets of 5. Yeah, you're gonna get a good workout. Curling 225, 5 sets of 5. Yeah, it's gonna have some inroads into your recovery ability.
And no doubt, you'll be a little bit hungry afterwards.
Yeah, I've
Uh-huh.
done whole body. That's one.
Very, very good. Francisco says, I am thinking this. Francisco.
I love that's a nice name.
Francisco. Where are you from?
Don't recognize that quote. Watch Elf. Go ahead.
It's funny. We just watched Elf the other day, and it's been years since I've seen it, and that movie holds up really well.
It'll hold up 100.
A timeless classic. I think we're ready to say it's a timeless classic, right? Mm-hmm.
When I watched the opening in the theater when it came out, I turned and said, "This is going to be a show that my grandkids watch."
This is it. You just knew that this was.
I don't think I had kids yet. I might have had kids. I don't remember now. But
yeah, it's that's kind of a scary thing. Like Elf, to me, I kind of remember it as being like a newer movie. It ain't new anymore. Elf's been around for a while. So
I was telling somebody the other day, It's a Wonderful Life came on, and I always say this is that what most people don't know about It's a Wonderful Life is that Jimmy Stewart, of course, was a bomber pilot in World War II. Most people don't know that. And he had horrific, we used to call it battle fatigue when I was young, or there was another shell shock. My brothers had it bad. My niece has it bad. Many of my friends have it. Jimmy Stewart had it really bad. And in the movie, holy cow, where's all this emotion coming from? When he's not acting.
I remember you brought this point up before, Dan, and again, to my embarrassment, I still haven't seen that movie. So this is going to be the year that I finally watch it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sorry, gentle listeners. I don't mean to get so emotional recently, but I am struggling with Dan John, am struggling with the realities of life, and I have been struggling with it recently. Mm-hmm. Burying friends is a hard thing to do.
Indeed. Well, as we've been about from the beginning, Dan, this podcast is not a show; it's a conversation.
Yeah.
And I am always enriched by these wherever our conversation goes, and I know that many of the listeners are as well. So yes, right. We appreciate it. We appreciate it.
I think when I start talking about post-traumatic, I go back to being 10 years old and trying to do my house, living in my house.
Yeah, understandably.
And I didn't have the toolkit. Mm-hmm. I look at Danny and Josephine, my grandchildren, and I think I had a brother in Vietnam and a brother home from Vietnam at your age. Mm-hmm. And we were dealing with, all the issues of disabilities, with night terrors, with alcohol. And I look at Danny and Joe and I'm like, how did I weather through it? But I did, and we all do. And that's why, and I think that's why I try to be so candid and honest, especially on this podcast.
Some very nice support from the listeners here.
Bless you.
Yeah, thank you guys, really, very much. Coming back to Francisco. We haven't forgotten about you, Francisco. We have not forgotten about you. Francisco says, I'm starting next year with easy strength, followed by a 6 to 8 week full body hypertrophy or some kettlebell challenge, and want to repeat that 3 times a year. I am an advanced beginner and 32 years old. What do you think of that approach, Dan? Does that sound reasonable to you?
The idea of doing like easy strength for a couple months and then a challenge and then easy
here and there, yeah,
Hey, speaking of, I have just a few more. What's it, the 7th? Oh, December 7th. I had a cousin survive in the USS Arizona, and along with Earl Nightingale, the great speaker, one of 7 Marines who survived on the Arizona. One was my cousin. So today,
Nightingale was one of them.
Earl Nightingale.
I did not know that.
Yeah, wow. That's why when you listen to him and you hear about his problems, give him a break.
Right.
Yeah, I'm thinking about doing the 10K challenge again this year. Thinking about it, but I'm a big fan of this idea, Francisco. I love the idea of 2 months of extremely boring, easy strength for fat loss, easy strength, and then some. Let's kick butt, take names. I'm going to be an internet warrior for about 28 days or 20 days, and then go at the end of that, say, what the hell was I thinking? Get back into that boring, easy strength crap. At the end of the 6th week, you'll be like, I'm so bored. Give me something fun.
Right.
Some jackass.
Some jackass. That'll be the next one of my channels. I'm just going to call it Kettlebell Jackass. That'll be the name of the channel.
I love the idea. What are your homies going to do for the start? Are you going to do the 300?
We typically do the 300 at the start of the year. So that's penciled in. That's tentative.
300 for 30.
That's the scheme. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's the scheme. Mm-hmm. Considering it, thinking about it.
No, but I'll do it.
Then we'll do it together. If Dan John's in, that was so fun. We did the live stream. Maybe, you know what? Maybe we will have to do that. Maybe that will have to be what we do. The thing. Mm-hmm.
It was cool.
Yeah. So Francisco, it sounds like you have Dan's blessing. Go forth and Godspeed. Yeah. Michael says, when is my 6-week tactical, radical, convict, aggressive, savage, hardcore curl day? In seriousness, I love the idea of rotating emphasis, allowing you to push hard. Thank you both. Well, thank you for being here, gentle.
Michael, I think you have a book. Tactical, radical, aggressive, savage, hardcore body in 6 weeks. I love that.
Yeah.
That's principle. I mean, just the title. Just the title.
That's just the title. That's
holy cow.
That isn't even the subtitle.
When's the last time we've done a contest?
It's been a minute,
How about just covers to books? They have to send you in the picture of their.
Oh, that's fun. All right. Yeah, we'll do that. If you guys can give Dan and I the ultimate, most ridiculous fitness book cover.
But it has to be one page.
One page, right? Yep. Mm-hmm. And it has to make us laugh. And what we'll do, listen closely. What we'll do is we'll display the winner on the podcast, and we'll give you some stuff. We got some goodies. Pat Flynn's it's on Pat Flynn. I've got plenty of goodies.
Oh, you sure?
Because I still have some of your DVDs, Dan. So I still got tons of stuff that we could give out. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So, mm-hmm.
And
so there you go.
In the future, maybe a half-hour consult or so. Wow, a fan on the show.
Yeah, how about that? All right, so here's the deal. You give us the best, most ridiculous fitness title you can. Send it to me, Pat Flynn at chroniclesofstrength.com.
No, but it has to be the cover.
So they have to do the art? Is that what you're saying?
Not necessarily the art, but just print it up. So
print it up, sure. Mm-hmm.
So it looks like it. So we can just slap them up on the.
Yeah, go use PicMonkey or something. There you go, or Canva, and make it, and then you can win a consult live on the show and a bunch of books and DVDs and goodies. So,
But it has to look, it has to look almost believable. Okay,
that's funny. All right, yeah, all right. We will pick a winner for this.
And then what we're going to do is we're going to combine them all and then sell the book of books.
All right, deal. Great idea. That'll be that's a fun one. I like that. I like that a lot. All right, let's see here. Samuel says, Pat, will you consider Prometheus a FB full body routine? Yes. Yeah, that my old Prometheus. Yes, I would consider that a full body routine. He says he's seeing spectacular results. Very good. I am happy to hear that. So the answer is yes, I would. Pete says, I get a funny quad pump when going hard on the overhead press. Interesting. Do I need to work on focusing the tension better, or is it okay since it's a full body lift? He's not the first. Yeah, not the first time I've heard this. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a full body lift, and I think that's why that's why I think those guys back in the 60s who did the clean and press and competition, and the overhead press was the answer all questions. If you look at their bodies, they always had that thick thigh. And obviously it's because they're Olympic lifters, but also too, that to have a good overhead press, you need a big old base. But it is interesting, Pete. He's one of the Jonas Brothers.
He is amazing.
Oh my God! Huh? I didn't know we were reaching out to such a famous
The
group.
podcast is internationally known, Dan, as we like to say.
And that question we had last week from Tom Hanks was very nice. I thought, yes, yeah. I think it's okay. Having said that, just kind of put that onto the side long term. Sometimes when we have these little oddity things, just kind of write it in your journal. Just say, I get a quad pump, put a circle around it. God bless you. So maybe a couple of years from now, when you got like some weird hamstring issue or something like that, you'll, okay, this, because sometimes this talks to that, and maybe there might be a weakness somewhere. Or Pete, you might have actually answered, you might actually be doing things so perfectly that you have a quad pump. But I always like, whenever I have a weird little, and I wish I'd have been better about it. Like I've said before, I noted in my journal in high school this weird hip clicking. Well, what I didn't know at the time was that I had pistol grip hips, and
right.
I just, of course, I just ignored it because I'm an idiot.
Because that's just what you do when you're young and whatever. Yeah. But don't you guys do that? That's what I'm saying. Don't you? Do as we say, not as we done or did. Here we go. That's not just being sarcastic. I do try to take very seriously. Obviously, we all learn from our own mistakes. That's just part of being human. But we should also try to learn from the admitted mistakes of others, right? I take seriously the advice when people give me when they say they're older and more experienced. Say, Pat, I made this mistake. I don't want to see you repeat it. I try to take that very seriously because that's wisdom, right? That's wisdom, right? So when, sometimes, Dan, you get this thing like, oh, this guy's all injured. What the heck does he know? Well, probably a lot if he's a wise person, probably a lot. And in fact, the wise people will reflect on, and we're all injured to some extent. I mean, that's just, life just injures you. That's just life, right? It's certainly lifting to
a life worth living. Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. And so sometimes the best wisdom flows from people who, looking back, realize, yeah, this was smart. This was not smart. And here, let me share those insights with you so I can help steer you in a better direction. So I take that stuff very, very seriously. I do. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, as bad as my parents were with money, I mean, they instilled this idea of saving money. And when I had my first job as a teacher making $9,000 a year, I saved 10% of it. And that allowed me, when I was 52, to basically, I hate to say that I retired, but I did. I mean, that's when I decided to go full time into this career. Well, whatever you call what I do now.
Yeah, that thing. It's a wonderful thing. All right, let's take maybe one more here, and then I want to hear what's coming down the pipeline at Dan John University. David says, I do not have the shoulder and lat mobility necessary to do a Turkish get-up. Do you have suggestions for improving my mobility? Thanks, David from Chicago.
Well, I would first tell you, this concerns me, David. That is I don't know how old you are or anything, David, but that would concern me. I will say this. I do think the movement of the Turkish get-up for you might have some great value. You could do it as simple as holding a great exercise I discovered the other day is grabbing a baby on my chest and then rolling and standing up. Wonderful little exercise, and especially if you have a tub like Leo, who's 6 months old and weighs 305 pounds. Okay. So first off, even if you just did a 10-pound weight and did the movement of the Turkish get-up, you're holding it like a sandbag, hell, 10-pound weight, that's a duffel bag. I mean, it's anything. But I would like you to look into why you don't have the ability to do this. That is really, there has to be more to what you're telling us than simply lack of mobility. Mm-hmm. If you can't put your hand over your head, people get on me because I always recommend surgery, but I never recommend surgery. I always say, if you might need a medical intervention, a physical therapy intervention, a really good mobility coach intervention, a yoga, a sauna, a foam roll. I hope you saw how I did that. But that would be a concern of mine.
Yeah, good. Dan, what is happening and what do you have cooking up at Dan John University? I know you just had the Black Friday sale, but what's next? What's coming? What do you want to?
Well, first off, this week, I still might just jump on a plane and go. I'm accepting an award for a lifetime achievement in strength and conditioning.
Congratulations! That's great.
From the UK Strength and Conditioning group.
That's awesome. Very, very cool.
And I got to tell you,
so legendary strength coach according to Men's Health magazine, and
yeah, and I think it would be nice if all of our listeners would write Skyline College, San Bruno, California. I should have been in the Hall of Fame on the first class, and because of COVID, because of changes in the athletic directors and stuff, the Hall of Fame at Skyline is something that's really important to me. But I'm starting to think that this award might be more important, to me. And I know, folks, that sounds kind of weird to say that, but I have more yesterdays than tomorrows, and my legacy here in strength and conditioning is extremely important to me. I just spent too many hours. As you know, the bulk of the work I've done is for free, and I've just spent too much time, too many hours to. I don't want all the lessons I've learned, all the magazines and books that I've read and count. You see, I mean, every time you talk to me, you say, "What book have you read?" And almost every week it's 2 new ones, right? I mean, it's rare that I don't read 2 or 3 books in the field, right? In a week.
Right.
So for me, I'm very concerned that if I die, my daughters come in here and go, "What a bunch of crap," and just throw it out the door. I'm very concerned that, stuff like Easy Strength will end up in the dustbin of history again and to be rediscovered. So sometimes these little things just make me, I don't want our gentle listeners to have to repeat every mistake you and I made.
Right. And that's one of the things that I think is very special about this podcast is not just that you give us your time and your expertise, but we're creating a record here. Yeah. And presumably it will be a record that will always, hopefully, always be here as well. Part of the legacy, if you will. And I hope that we're.
Do you have a minute?
I hope that we're doing that. Yeah.
Okay. For those of you who are just listening, I'm sorry. I'm walking the group down to my. So this is my downstairs living room. Okay. This is my downstairs.
Little Dan John cribs. I love it.
And then this is all that. Okay. So those. I just had this redone. That's all the stuff. Can you see that? Okay. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So I just had all this redone. There's some other plaques and stuff like that. All my travels, all this other stuff. Greatest chessboard in the world. Big game. There's a little to my daughters. But so I got this done this week. Can you guys see that? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So that's my father's jacket from World War II. This is a couple of years. He got, obviously he had, he got a lot more after this. This is my mom and dad, and I had this framed. My dad, when he died in 1991, my brother Phil got this. And my brother Phil, as you know, died 2 years ago.
That's right.
So his son, Brian, got this. And Brian just had a baby, Patrick Phillip. And he sent the jacket out to me. And I just had this framed because these pictures from 1943 are going to disappear into the dustbin of history.
Wow. Yeah.
Unless we remember them. And I know I've been a little over the top emotional in the past few years, and forgive me for that. But what you just said there was beautiful, because that's all. I just showed you everything I have from my mom and dad. that little thing underneath is my mom, just before she died, wrote up everything I needed to know about my life, my birth, my baptism, my graduations, in this little piece of paper. That's all I have from my mother.
Wow.
Oh, and I have her Bible and her book from her Socrates book.
Hmm.
For my dad, that's all I have.
Hmm. But what a significant thing that is.
And yet my daughters and grandkids are going to be able to come in, and it might be horrible for them.
Mm-hmm.
But my grandkids will be able to watch me talk to you, and
week after week after week after week, right? Mm-hmm. I think about that as well, even for my kids and grandkids.
That is stunning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and I think about that a lot, and I'm grateful, Dan. I'm grateful that you're here, and we're creating this record together, right?
right.
So yeah, I mean, I have no idea how that will actually turn out, but that is something that I always sort of have in the back of my mind as well. So that's really cool to hear that.
And so
yep, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
And so and I don't, and please, I'm not morbid, and I'm not going to be dead tomorrow. At least I hope. Who knows? But I think what I want the gentle listeners to know is that, and I've said this before, that you and I are real people, and I have real problems. You're a real person. You have 4 kids, which means you have real problems. And yet we get together every Tuesday to share and laugh and enjoy our passion, which comes from passios, to suffer, our passion for all these things we talk about.
Right. Yeah. And it's certainly. And I hope that in these conversations, the listeners get value in more ways than one. And I know at least some of them do, because they very graciously let us know. So really good reminders, Dan. But before we go, do tell us, danjohnuniversity.com. Please go check out what Dan's doing there. And Dan, remind us where people can get on your newsletter again, because we mentioned at the beginning. I do want to make sure people aren't wandering weight, so they can.
Gosh, I don't know how you sign. I think if you go to danjohn.net, there's a little thing that comes up on the home site to sign up for my weekly newsletter.
Okay. Well, I'll track it down and put it in the show notes.
And Dan John University, I think if I think there's a thing in there. I'll make sure it's even easier. In fact, I'll try to find a way that we can hook. That'd be kind of a good thing to have you hook up to the site. I talk about you a lot on this. I put a lot of your materials in there. It's a good thing to be my friend, because I quote young Miss Smith was talking about. I put a little blurb about her, and she said it blew up her whole everything she has. So
yeah.
Can you still hear me? Okay, I'm sorry, I unplugged.
Yeah, you sound good. Yep.
All right. Well, hey, I love you, Pat. Next week is for you.
Yeah, next week, same bat channel, same bat place, right?
And who knows, I might be in England. So
all right. Well, gentle listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. Please do comment, share, subscribe, leave a review. That stuff really helps the show, and we'll catch you in the next episode. Bye-bye.